Okay, part two of my passport story. Hopefully you saw that one. If you haven't, you might want to watch it. But the quick recap is I went to check in for a cruise to the Caribbean 9 days before it. And the second I went to scan my passport on the cruise app, it said it was expired. I was blown away. I felt like I just got it. Even though if someone had asked me, I probably would have said, oh, you know what? I think it does. I remember seeing the expiration around 2025, 26. And I ended the last one saying I had taken a photo. I discovered a photo of my passport I took on December 3rd. Today's now December 23rd. And I tried to check in, about 4 days ago. So I would have, even then, had time to get it the traditional way, which takes about 14 days. But it really is such an ADD thing to not have noticed or even thought when I was taking that photo. A normal person absolutely would have. We are always, they say it's a lack of focus. We're also hyper focused on things. And I call it, I'm just always multi-thinking. It's awful. Which really inhibits me being present. That when I was in my drinking days, I was never present. And I thought that's all it was. But this is the same thing. It's debilitating. It truly is. We also don't have a working memory, meaning before I go to bed, I'll say, all right, I got to grab my Alexa. I have a portable Alexa. I got to grab that off the table, bring it in bed with me. I'll get in bed. I forgot it. I reminded myself 2 seconds later. Stuff like that all the time. So when I looked at my passport that day to take a photo, I was probably thinking of 10 other things. I also now, in my sobriety, flooded with all these creative thoughts, and it's just overwhelming. And so, last thing on my mind, I just wasn't present enough to have looked and thought, oh, let me just check when the expiration is. So it's so bad. And as far as why I didn't check in sooner, because my sister reminded me, you can check in 45 days out. And I didn't even make an attempt till 9 days out. And it's because there's so many things I explained on the last video that we're just overwhelmed with everything we need to do that we don't do. And then we procrastinate and then becomes compound overwhelm the next day. But also we don't get, dopamine kicks out of it. If it's not of interest to us, it's just like, we just dread it. And even though it's a 5-minute procedure, 5-10 minutes, we just do not want to do it until we have to. That's the thing. We work off of deadlines. And until we have to. And I really had to, last Friday because I told my mother I was going to do it that Tuesday. So what else? One thought, fun fact, I hate, I got the picture, CVS. I absolutely hate the picture. Even though I haven't looked at my passport picture, the last one, I didn't look at the thing in 10 years. It now is driving me crazy that it's such a bad photo because I just got a haircut, which is why I wear my hat for about a week and hate the photo, but thought that was funny. I'm never even going to see the thing. Although otherwise on this cruise, every time you go on and off the ship, you have to show it. But again, who cares? I always thought that was so funny growing up. A girl, a friend of yours, you'd say, oh, let me look at your license photo. And they'd say, no, it's a horrible photo. I don't want you to see. But it's like, I'm looking at you. I know what you look like right in front of me. But yeah, we hate it. It's like if someone sees that horrible image of us, that's all they'll think we look like or something. I don't know. It's crazy. But another thing I'll say is I always look at the bright sides of everything. I'm really proud of myself for having shot into Boston yesterday and going back today. Luckily, with the holiday, there was no traffic getting in both times. Coming out, there was just a little bit today, but that was it. And I enjoyed listening to Christmas music. And I'm going to make this a lesson to do not procrastinate. Do things like this on the spot. Hopefully my final lesson. I've certainly learned them before. And I'm also setting a reminder in my Google Calendar for 9 years out. Very important. And make it reoccurring for every 9 years. Renew passport. I just panicked. My TSA pre-check wasn't renewed, but it turns out it was just last year. And I have no memory of it. Because again, never present in my thinking. So I'll end it with a couple stories. The guy that was in line with me yesterday, I started talking about, he's going on his honeymoon and his passport expires in 3 months. So he couldn't check in for his flight. He was in Charlotte. He had to fly to Boston Sunday night, stay in a hotel, and then go to the Boston office. There's only about 8 of them or so in major cities, and a lot of them didn't even have availability. I was very lucky. Boston, for whatever reason, was wide open. But this guy even flew his wife in because she'd never been to Boston. He's from Boston, lives in Brazil now, but $1,200 of tickets, although he did just get a credit card that he had points. But so talk about a bright side, that could have been me. I just had to drive 30 minutes in there and a little more driving out. And I do wish I could have done it all in one day. He only had to wait 1 to 3 hours. But anyway, I thought that was fascinating. And then the woman in line with me today lives in New York. They had no appointments, but she very luckily was visiting her parents in Mass for the holiday. So she was there today. But this is crazy. She just traveled in the fall, knew it was expiring, but then didn't remember to get it renewed. So she had to get it last minute because she's going to Aruba on Saturday. But the real kicker is she did the exact same thing 10 years ago, right down to the fact she had traveled in the fall and then forgot. She blames the holidays. But I said to her, do you have ADD? Because you might. And I know everybody thinks they have ADD just because they're distracted, but it's much, much more than that, as I discuss in several of my videos, along with a great podcast. I have Happy Hour podcast. Check it out with my ADD coach. So I think that will do it. Lesson learned. Going to be in the Orlando area before and after the cruise, including at Disney World, where my niece stars as Mickey Mouse. So that'll do it. As always, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you.